Well, I guess kind of like music's always been a massive part of my life, and I'm still doing music today. You know, like, and I will be doing it for a long time, I imagine. You know, it almost at times it's not even. It's like it's not even a. You know, it's not even a choice for me. It's something I do. It's how I express myself and counsel myself. You know, it's how I learn writing music and putting it in songs. So yeah, I mean, there will be other bands for me for sure, and there's a band with ex-members of Think Tank and Edison Music kind of on the horizon, and we're having a great time sharing each other's company and writing a heap of stuff. So that's like it's an exciting future for us personally, and hopefully for Adelaide music. The scene here is as strong as it ever was, I think. Like in terms of kids coming out, it's kind of cool. Like things are getting. You know, for a while there, it became really about one particular style of music. But again, things are opening up, and it's always fresh. You know, the scene reinvents itself every 2 years, and I think that's exciting. You know, it's fresh and it allows a lot of movement. You know, ventilation for so many new bands to come in and put out their own sound, and yeah, it's cool. Like I think it'll always be there. Hopefully, yeah.
For me, my dream would be not that I'm going to be in it or anything, but the thing that I appreciated most about the Adelaide scene when we were there was that the bands were just real, like they were just real people. And there was always this conflict between like Christian bands and secular bands, whereas we tried to just make this, there was no distinction, like we were just Christians who had a faith and were playing in a band,
Yeah.
and we were playing to friends and at pubs and stuff rather than playing at churches and things like that. And so I'd just love that to continue.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, fully, because that was something that hadn't happened really.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of like, yeah, and that's the thing you forget. Like now, it's kind of like you go to a youth group and you'll see all these punk rock kids. You know what I mean? Like back when we started the band, it was like there's no such thing as a Christian punk. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, if you listen to punk rock, you're obviously of the devil. You know, it was like pretty hard line, and for us, you know, it was like a miracle that we found each other and we all shared like an interest in the same kind of subculture and music. And yeah, at the time when we started the band, it was definitely something that was pretty taboo. It wasn't that normal at all. So yeah, it's good. It's rad when you take a risk and it kind of
Christian punk.
I know.
Isn't that like opposites?
Yeah.
That's what everyone would say.
Yeah.
So you're just saying, no, we're not rock now.
Our first t-shirt said SERAPHS COAL constructive punk and had a construction worker on it. And that was kind of like, yeah, like Sam was saying, it wasn't a Christian punk band, you know, as people categorised us and boxed us. It was a constructive punk band, you know, and Christ was the focus, you know. He was the person that was constructing our lives, and so that, you know, that just featured heavily in the lyrics, and we never toned it down, which is something that I was stoked with. It's kind of like we kind of kept our integrity to the end, I think, which is cool, you know. Looking back, you know, there's certainly areas that we kind of, you know, wavered on, and you know, the band had a life of its own. It took itself in its own direction, but as far as the message went, that was always strong, and that's why we started the band. So it's cool that we saw it through to the bitter end.
So if there's any kids out there you want to start a band, keep it real.
Yeah. True that.
Is there any other Robbie bands that you want to play?
Yeah. Oh, probably too many to mention. If I start mentioning bands, you have to mention everyone's bands.
Any other things you guys want to
That guy rips.
get a new table?
Do you want to talk about in terms of ministry stuff, like in terms of pubs and talking to people and where it's at?
Maybe, hey. What would you say then?
You've got the one I gave you.
Just so that ministry is about relationships.
Yeah.
It's about sharing life.
Yeah.
It's not about getting a perfect thing happening and a well-oiled machine and everything working perfectly. It's about just getting together and meeting people where they're at. And if it's in a pub and bar, you have a beer with them, and
Yeah.
talk about life, and that's ministry. And that's what I loved about the band. We were playing these pub shows, and we were talking with people out in the gutter afterwards, you know.
It's like you're saying, it was a relational thing. We just go out and talk to people, and conversations start, and you're just like, well, you know, I believe there's a God. I know Him as my Father, and you just go into that, the whole who Christ is to me, and it'd be just like a personal thing. You'd put it on them, but not overly. It's just as you felt led, wouldn't you? You know?
Totally.
There's definitely heaps of
Everything
opportunities
was
for that.
organic, you know. Everything about the band was organic, including, I guess, what you could call the ministry aspect of it. But that's what, to me, that's what being a Christian's about, you know. Like,
It is.
we're in the world, but not of the world, you know.
Yeah.
Is what the scripture says, and
Being who you are, who God's made you,
yeah.
and that should speak,
And like,
it does.
we're all in different places even now, you know. Like Sam's in youth ministry, and Andre's in, you know, up in the hills in the sticks, and he's married and he's got 2 kids, and more keep coming, and you know. But we're all everywhere that we are, like, you know, it's an opportunity, isn't it? Like, you know, it doesn't even matter where you are. I think that's where you
We're
are.
given
is
this great opportunity to go interstate and to play with like bands from the States and stuff, and sit down in the back room and just be able to chat with them.
It's no, in some respects, it's no greater opportunity than what we're all given.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I went to Beach Mission and talked to a guy on the jetty, you know, about God, and anyone can do that. And it's not like I went there especially to do it. Things like that just happen, you know.
Yeah, and that's what church is.
Yeah.
You know?
Theology of church.
Yeah, theology of church.
It's Christ is the head.
The problem with the theology of church
We had the problem with the theology of church.
is
Christ
that
is
it's
the
the
head of
theology of church. Really, it's meant to be the life of the church, and that's, I guess, what you're saying. Like, we just need to live it, you know. Like, and if it's in a pub, that's where it is, you know. If it's, you know, working on the site, you know, that's where it is. It's wherever you are is where you're living it, and so there shouldn't be any distinction, you know. If you can be a Christian businessman, then you can sure as hell be a Christian punk rocker. You can sure as hell be like a Christian hardcore kid. You can sure as hell be a Christian skater, you know. It's like wherever you are, as a Christian, that's where your witness is, you know. That's where you show Christ in your life to people. Which is just simply showing love, isn't it? Like, you know, loving God.
Amen.
Pastor Dan.
Did you get all that covered? Yes, because we were having camera troubles all over the
That's
place.
good.
That's great. That's it. That's the testimony. Any more testimony?
Testify.
Because you guys are really the sort of strongest lyrically I've got, like, you know, so it's a pretty strong message.
What's that?
Especially the early stuff.
Yeah, did you get like
We've got pastors who go through our lyrics.
all those sort of comments from sort of musicians? Because like obviously got a lot of respect for just putting it out there.
What I never understood about the band is why we didn't get persecuted. Like,
We
I
did in Brisbane.
We did.
In Brisbane, we got labelled as
that was good.
pro-lifers.
Yeah, for some reason, like we just got fully attacked because I guess Queensland's such a conservative. You know, the church still has quite a massive role in their political.
I don't know.
I guess historically.
Just ask him.
For Yoka Peterson, you know, their whole political history is very much one from a Christian conservative angle. So, like, everyone there is like militantly hates Christians. What did I write on my chest that time? One of the first shows we played there.
Politics is fashion.
When I still had space in my chest. All right, yeah, politics is fashion, because everyone was just ranting on internet sites about SERAPHS COAL, homophobic. I was like, sure, like it was completely unbased.
This is in Brisbane.
Yeah,
It had no
this is
basis, but they were
huge.
just saying you're Christians, therefore you bash gays, therefore you know what I mean? It was just like you're totally what's the word, like you're
yeah.
when you're just intolerant, you know, you're totally intolerant, you're bigots. And it was totally unbased. And anyway, we played, and it was funny, one of the bands we played that were hard out,
Yeah.
kind of their friends were the ones that was like stirring all this stuff online and whatever else. They were really cool. Like, I went up and talked to them afterwards and had a really good convo with them. And I think, like, yeah, I mean, I guess people can always criticise your band, like when they read the lyrics and go, okay, yeah, you know, preachy lyrics, whatever, but we weren't preachy people, you know, really. They were lyrics that were for us and lyrics that we wanted to share, you know, we share our lives with other people.
Remember when we started writing songs,
Yeah.
even first demos, Dan and I would sit down and we'd talk about it and go, yeah, you know, the old, you know, you point the finger and you got 3 pointing back here. That's a very simple cliche that we won't use. I just did. But that was, we wanted that not to be our case. You know, we thought, let's just say, okay, this is who we are. This is, we know, you know, just our story, our relationship with God. Just show that, and then it went on to, like that song 13 about that girl in India, like testimonies about other people's lives, and we tried to come across with that whole, rather than just pointing people out and telling them where they're wrong and telling them what they have to do, just say, look, this is the way, this is the truth, this is the life, you know.
And we're trying to live it, and we fall short.
Yeah,
and
totally.
this is our struggle, and this is our reality.
But we know the hope we have.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what it was, wasn't it? It was trying to infuse a message of hope into, you know,
into a scene that
was fairly hopeless. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Given different people you talk to, we were, I guess, varied in our success. You know, obviously.
Well, if you measure it by our success.
And what is success anyway? You know, what is success? Like, but I mean, when I was saying in terms of the spiritual side of things, significance.
Yeah.
But we just did it.
That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, like
We just did it.
You
Don't
gotta
know how it happened.
Yeah.
we thought, guys, we think it'd be awesome to play with Jemima. If we could support Jemima at a gig.
Because they were charging. And we weren't.
Yeah.
I still remember that. That's still my memory. That we never thought we'd be able to play with Jemima. That was too good.
And then the thing that got me was we'd be playing these shows later on in our career, and we'd be headlining the show, and these bands would be on first up at 5:30 or something. There'd be 2 people watching them, and their music was just brilliant. Their guitar work, they're just tight as, and no one was watching them. And then we get up, and we miss a beat, stop the song,
Miss a
but
beat.
everyone was into it.
We wouldn't find a beat. It was just, SERAPHS COAL was about raw, unabridged energy.
Totally.
And that's all it was. Like in the recordings, you know, the songwriting was like a massive part of it for me. And then in the recordings, it was a massive part for all of us, like getting it down creatively. This is our art. This is where we try to approximate the live energy and give people something to listen to and kind of understand our band. Live, it was always kind of like we tried to be as good as we could within our very meager capabilities. But it was always like you'd sacrifice anything for energy, you know? Like if I looked across at Sam and he wasn't like 5 foot in the air, like just axe murdering someone with a guitar, it wasn't a good show, you know? Like.
And you'd tell me about it afterwards.
Yeah, I would. Sam, you know, there was no bloodshed tonight, so realistically it wasn't a good show. Like, are you hurting? Did you break anything? No. But yeah, I mean, that was the best thing. The best thing about it is like, and that's what people saw in our band. Like people up the East Coast, I only found this out after the band broke up, but people referred to us as, you know, the real band, you know, the real punk band. And I think what they meant is maybe just the passion that we had, you know, like we weren't really pretentious in any way. We weren't fashion orientated.
Yeah.
We weren't, you know, it was totally about our message, and whether kids were Christian or not, they picked up on it. And I'd like to think that, you know, even at least based on CD sales, that, you know, a good like 60-70% of our audience was non-Christian, you know, people that didn't believe. So once again, coming back to the first like persecution thing, did people kind of have beef with us being hard out Christo kids? They didn't really seem to. I'm sure behind our back people had gripe, but to our face, never. Like, because I guess we were pretty sincere, and we're just normal dudes.
I think if they had something to go on that they could trip you up on, then they would have. But because we weren't trying to be anything that we weren't. They didn't persecute us.
Just loser music gigs from Adelaide.
Yeah.
Sweet.